night is something that you do not want to miss. It is a fundraising event for all the Seventh day Adventist schools on island. We have three primary schools and one high school. So this concert is in efforts to assist building our new primary school, which is the Ebenezer SDA Primary School, because the space we are in right now is too small for the students that we have. So we're taking the funds and whatnot to build a new place in Goodwill. We have a lot of lineups for you all on Saturday night. We have Miss Lily Octave and Bijon Pierre from Trinidad, and also the USC choir who comes with the fire. We expect, I did not intend that rhyme, but it's going to be something that you cannot afford to miss. Tickets are only $30, and the venue is at the factory on Valley Road. And me, myself, I will be singing as well. And it's just something that you cannot afford to miss. It's something about music and reunion and just reconnecting with people you have been with in the past.
I will now introduce our guest.
Now, to my left, we have Mr. Bijon Pierre. He is a Trinidad gospel artist. People I only see on YouTube, but he is here in efforts to help spread the gospel, but also help us raise funds for the schools. And to my right, we have an alumni, Miss Lily Octave, both primary and secondary alumni, the great powerhouse herself. So these are the people here, and I am Niall Grove, of course.
All right. And you're the winner of the last competition we had, gospel competition.
Yes, I am.
Well, you have a lot of accolades there, boy.
Yes.
All right. So let's say good afternoon to our guests. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
All right. Love being in Dominica?
Man, today's the first day I got to move around, and this place is truly beautiful, man.
You're inspired to sing even more?
Yeah. I feel to write a new song.
That's it.
And lady, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
I love your hairstyle.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
So what should we expect this weekend?
This weekend, well, I'm expecting great things because I'm sitting next to great people.
Okay.
But what to expect from me, I come to bring you the word of God in song. I tend to write songs from my experiences.
Okay.
And I hope that it resonates. It has been before, so I hope it resonates here in Dominica with the audience, of God's goodness, of God's mercy, of God's love, So Saturday night will be a
so
nice
we expect
experience.
some original tracks?
Yeah, all original, all original, but you will enjoy it. I'm sure they will.
What about you, young lady? I'll leave that Niall for last.
Well, I too will be bringing an original song that was written especially for the program.
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
that we will be doing on Saturday with the His Love Choir. We practiced yesterday. I know it's coming along really good. I think the young people, they really connect with the message of it, and it's something that everybody could pretty much connect to on their spiritual journey. I too read from experiences, so I relate.
Okay.
So this is one that we're very excited to share, and there'll be others that I've done before that the people would have been familiar with.
Okay.
So we'll be
So you live right here in Dominica?
In Dominica. Yes.
So in Dominica, like you don't want to be anywhere else.
I know, right?
All right,
Yes.
all right. Niall, I left you for last.
Well, this weekend from me, I come to bring what the people them like, and I have certain things that the people love to enjoy, things that you can rock to. But I also am coming with one of my original songs that you only will hear at live events. But I promise the people them that the studio version is coming soon. So I I am bringing that as well. From the concert on a whole, you can expect the presence of God.
I can tell you, I was one of the hosts who entertained Gael and, of course, facilitated Gael. Niall, I keep saying Niall. I don't know why. Good. Maybe I want to say good guy. Niall. And he was always an inspiration there. Always an inspiration. I want to say congratulations to you. You've done well. But let's take some of this His Love choir there from Trinidad.
Your troubled mind, selfish you, baby. All these years I've been through this struggle, living with you, living with your fake lights and fantasies. You never seem to feel the way that I'm feeling. No way. Cause at the end of the day, I always give in.
All right, Dominica. All right. So, I like spontaneous stuff. So I'm gonna get all of you guys to give me one verse of one of the songs that you might present this afternoon or this weekend. Is that okay with you?
Sure.
I mean, it's just a 1, 2, 3, and we go. Who's gonna go first? Did I put you?
You're looking at me, so let me start. He never promised you an easy road. There are trials you must face. Never promised that the weapons wouldn't form, but all of them would fail. There'll be stumbling blocks to break you down while running in this race. But all your broken pieces, God will put it back in place. When you're crying on your knees, saying, Father, help me please. Put an angel over me to guide my way. There'll be times you feel like giving up, but know that God is big enough. A listening ear to every prayer you pray. Life can be hard, so hard, so hard. It's no bed of roses, but hold on to God. Yeah, man.
Impressed. What about you now? You leaving the lady first, or you want to be last?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go before me.
All right.
Oh my. Okay, well I can't do the original because everybody
You
will have
know,
to come first.
give us something.
Yes.
We'll be impressed with.
All the glory and all the honor and all the praise belongs to only you. In the morning, with brand new mercy, it is your face that I see. Oh, precious slain on Calvary, I sing your praise throughout eternity and cast my crowns at your feet so that you'll get all the glory. Take none of me, but all to thee.
Good. All right. Good work, guys. Now, you expect me to introduce you again?
I won't lose a friend for heeding God's call. For what is a friend who wants me to fall? Others find pleasure in things I despise. I like the Christian life. I won't lose a friend for heeding God's call. For what is a friend who wants me to fall? Others find pleasure in things I dislike, but I like the Christian life. I like the Christian life.
Wow. All right, Dominica. When we come back, we'll talk some logistics, huh? Everybody wants to know the price to enter, where it is. We'll find it out in a minute. And the time we have remaining. But it seems clear It's gonna be a big gospel concert there on Saturday.
In a world where faith, music, and legacy unite, one night will bring it all together. This is more than a concert. It's a celebration, a homecoming, a mission, featuring powerful voices from alumni, students, guest choirs, and a grand finale by gospel artist Bjorn Pierre. This is the Gospel Gala, May 31st, 7:30 p.m. The Factory, Roseau, opposite the Botanical Gardens. Presented by the ECC Adventist National Youth Association. The biggest gospel event of its kind has finally arrived. Gospel Gala 2025. It all goes down May 31st. And you definitely don't want to miss this one. Performances straight from our very own SDA schools. Then comes the fire. Niall Grove.
You've been good to me.
Adina Antwerp. Lily Octave. And that's just the beginning. Flying in from Trinidad, the His Love Choir, repping the University of the Southern Caribbean. And right beside them, the USC Praise Team. But wait, hold on. You already know we had to end it with a bang. The headliner, the voice, the minister himself.
Thank you, Lord, for another answer. Yeah. Sing with me now. As I rise out of my bed. Thank you, Lord, for another day. The other song, but I know. So, Lord, after you showed me much faithfulness, what could be worse than? And if I must fail, a little pain along the way. I still have God and I still got breath. So give thanks and praise in Jesus.
May 31st, at the Factory, Roseau. Be there. Be lifted. It's more than a concert. It's a celebration.
It's clear we have some big artists around the table here. You don't want to miss this one there. May 31st at the Factory. Now, before I ask about the logistics, I want to just have a little conversation with you guys there.
Sure.
Where did your journey begin with the SDA, and why did you choose to of course, give God praise in music?
So I grew up an Adventist. I was born into a singing family. So putting two and two together was very easy to do. But my journey would have started in my early 20s when I decided to question, truly question this walk for myself. I didn't want to just be in it because I grew up in it. And as I questioned myself and I started searching the word, searching to find out what I am in, what is Christianity, what is Adventism,
What is the truth?
what is the truth, searching for truth, and searching for who I am as well. I realized that God called me to use my gift. to bring others to the truth as well, which is Jesus Christ. And in doing that now, God has been blessing me ever since I chose to make that step with song after song.
So you haven't regretted?
I haven't regretted it. I mean, I'm in Dominica now from doing this, and it's experiences like these is always good to look back, and I like to encourage others as well who may be unsure, because there's no one before me in my circle that has done this. So doing this was truly a faith walk, and I never did it to become any big star or anything like that. But God has made so many beautiful opportunities because of that step, and it's just a beautiful journey.
They say music is a tough business.
Well, but if you do it in ministry, is a beautiful experience, and I can only speak of the beautiful experiences.
What about the young lady? I want to leave Niall for last. Huh?
Oh gosh. Well, the ministry that I have is a bit different. It's actually very diverse. And a lot of people don't know me right now for doing gospel music. But I actually started, I was born and raised in the Seventh-day Adventist Church as well. I myself, a good bit of my family went to the Seventh-day Adventist institutions, from my mother, my aunties, my sisters, and myself. Right now, my daughter, who's going to the Seventh-day Adventist institutions. She went to primary school, now in high school. But for me, I always, gospel music was something that was very close to me because of what I've gone through personally. I found it as a way of testimony. And so no matter what path I took, for me, this was always going to be something that I would always show up for, because I don't believe in stopping using my gift for God. So this is where I'm at right now. I'm very excited actually to share the first gospel song that I've officially putting out at the event. Yes.
I'm looking forward to that. Niall?
Well, I'm the youngest.
It doesn't
I am the youngest, so I am still growing. But I too, I grew up within the Adventist church. It has always been just me and my mom. So singing started with her CDs of Donnie McClurkin. So we've been through a lot, and my singing started as a testimony and as a way of channeling what I've been through and lining up with God to see that, okay, God has been present even in the absence of other people. My ministry is still moving, and some people will say your gifts will make room for you. So, and that is what I am seeing now, and I have seen God move in ways I would never see myself move. So right now, it is just the sky is the limit with God, and that is what I am seeing to understand. And I encourage people, when you start this thing with God, don't move, because this is the best way that you can go. God gave us His gift to glorify Him. You don't want the stones to cry out for you. So here we are, the three of us at this table, using our gifts and talents to bring glory and honor to God.
All right. Now let's talk about the logistics as we wrap it up, because we don't have too much time given that. You know what's going on in terms of this weekend, prices, things like that.
Okay, well, your prices for your tickets is just $30.
You say just, huh?
Just $30. It's not much, so it's just $30, and you can get your tickets at the Adventist Bookstore in Roseau, or at the primary school by the bridge as you enter town, or you could also get it online at ticketpass.com. Yeah, what is it?
Ticket and pass.
Ticket and pass. So when you get the ticket, you pass.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
So but there's something that we have to tell you. Two lucky people that come to the event will be walking away with a complimentary ticket from Express Days Hill to go to anywhere you would like within their course.
Okay.
No, I'd like to say that again. Two lucky people will be walking away with a complimentary ticket from Express Days Hill to go to any destination of your choice. So it is you, my people, to go buy your tickets. Saturday is just around the corner.
It sounds like a salesman.
I know, right? And just so we get the website as well. It's ticket, not and, but N.
Okay.
So it's
N.
ticket, the word ticket, the letter N, pass.com.
Okay, as we come to a wrap this afternoon, I want to have a final comments from you guys and to encourage persons to come this Saturday.
No, this seems like a one in a lifetime experience. So I really hope you all don't miss it. It's better to come and say, this was what I expected, which it would not be, than to miss it and be like, wow, I should have been there. So don't make this a regret, make this a blessing for you.
All right.
Yeah. Well, they say wherever two or three are gathered, there he is in the midst to bless. But every experience with God is different. And so this one is expected to be very unique. So come and receive a blessing as we too intend on being blessed and receiving the blessing. So we're coming to share the blessings in the space on Saturday. And we look to see everybody there.
What time now?
The event starts at 7 p.m. 7
Yeah,
p.m.
bang on time, they say.
Sharp.
Bang on time.
So
Very much so.
tell everybody you know, bring your uncle, your auntie, everybody, Nin and Power included. Tickets are only $30, brethren. So come and enjoy good music by yours truly, and even God himself will be present.
All right. Thank you very much, guys. Lady.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Good job.
The biggest gospel event of its kind has finally arrived. Gospel Gala 2025. It all goes down May 31st. And you definitely don't want to miss this one. Performances straight from our very own SDA schools. Then comes the fire. Niall Grove.
You've been good to me.
Adina Antwerp. Lily Octave. And that's just the beginning. Flying in from Trinidad, the His Love Choir, repping the University of the Southern Caribbean. And right beside them, the USC Praise Team. But wait, hold on. You already know we had to end it with a bang. The headliner, the voice, the minister himself, DJ Pierre.
Thank you, Lord, for another year. Sing with me now. As I rise out of my bed. Thank you, Lord, for another day. I know. So, Lord, after you showed me much faithfulness, what could be worse than? And if I must fail, a little pain along the way. I still have God and I still got breath. So give thanks and praise to Jesus.
May 31st at the Factory. Roseau. Be there. Be lifted. It's more than a concert. It's a celebration where faith, music, and legacy unite. One night will bring it all together. This is more than a concert. It's a celebration, a homecoming, a mission, featuring powerful voices from alumni, students, guest choirs, and a grand finale by gospel artist Bjorn Pierre. This is the Gospel Gala, May 31st, 7:30 p.m. The Factory, Roseau, opposite the Botanical Gardens. Presented by the ECC Adventist National Youth Association.
I did tell you we're going to have a packed afternoon. We'll come back to the events of May 29, 1979 in a few. Of course, different perspectives going forward. But our next stop is with Flo. Flo Dominica. We have Francine in the house. And you know when she's in the house, she's here to make some major announcements. So stick around, Dominica.
Customers are counted but not valued, like mere numbers, statistics, transactions. But at Flow, we're prioritizing you, our valued customers who have been with us through every milestone, every moment. That's why we're putting our money where your loyalty is. Flow customers claim up to $400 in rewards for smartphones, groceries, and more when you add mobile to your current internet plan. Because loyalty isn't a one-way street. At Flow, loyalty flows both ways.
An easy way to pay.
You asked for it and you got it. A quicker way to pay your bills online. It's fast, secure, and easy to use. No registration, no additional fees. Flow is now offering FastPay, an online service that allows you to settle your bills in less than 2 minutes. Need a receipt? FastPay will send it to your email immediately. Use FastPay now for convenience, safety, and efficiency at discoverflow.co/fastpay.
You're on your
Flow is keeping you connected.
Again, we did tell you we have Francine in the house. Good afternoon to you. How you doing, young lady?
I am well. Good afternoon to you, Matt, and the listeners of Q95 Radio. Always love coming here. I'm having a good afternoon. I really want to shout out before we get started today, all our customers, our very loyal Flow customers. Good afternoon to you. If I had to start naming, there's too many names. So I'll just say good afternoon for now. Our customers in waiting, our colleagues, supporters, friends, advocates. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy to be here, of course, in Q95, just touching base with you with some quick updates. Firstly, Matt, of course, we've been rewarding, and I just want to let everyone know that continues. We have a really exciting offer which is coming to an end tomorrow.
Okay.
And that is our customers who sign up for broadband. We've been giving away free tablets to these customers. Okay, so what a good way to stay connected and of course enjoy the best rewards. So you have until tomorrow at 5 p.m. to sign up, switch to the best network, and take advantage of a brand.
You say 5 p.m.
5 p.m.
Okay.
Okay, that's where our stores will close. Of course, you can benefit from this promotion at any of our retail outlets, and that's our Experience Center in Roseau, Deepex Color Lab, Kibrits Agencies in Portsmouth, or Club DVD, right? But I also want to remind persons to mark their calendars, because whilst our tablet offer is coming to an end tomorrow, we also have some excitement, Matt, happening tomorrow. We're going to read him up for summer 2025. Of course, whenever you think of summer, you have to think of Flow. And we're doing it big for our customers. As I normally say, Matt, when the news is good and I know it's to benefit our customers, it's hard to keep it in. So I really have to keep things in the bag and not let it out. So for now, I'm just going to say stay tuned. From tomorrow, from 8 a.m., when we open up our doors, we're going to have so many exciting things happening, lots of giveaways, special offers for our customers. So you need to be right there with us to enjoy.
And that's from what time?
That's from 8 a.m. tomorrow.
Okay.
We will have entertainment, we'll have a DJ in-house, and just so many exciting things as we open up summer 2025. We'll be back on here as well to share some good news, so you can look out for that. But Matt, a little on the lighter and more serious note, one of the reasons we really wanted to come on today is because, of course, as a telecoms provider and as the leading telecoms provider, we have responsibility to keep our customers safe and secure.
Mm-hmm.
And it has been brought to our attention that there is a scam going along, which is under the pretense of Flow Dominica offering an iPhone. And we really want persons to be vigilant, okay, in that regards. Please do not click on the links. Please do not share the links because it's definitely not an offer or promotion of Flow Dominica. Our offers, promotions, any specials, you can find it on our official pages. And that is Flow Dominica on Facebook, Instagram. Once you're gonna hear my voice. If you didn't hear any voice on Q95,
That's fake.
it's fake.
Right.
Okay, but we really want our customers to be vigilant. In the digital world, you really can't, you can't prevent these hackers and these scammers, right? But you can be responsible and ensuring that you click, not just in this instance, because it happens often, just ensure that, you check the validity of the things you click on. If you get a link, look to see if it's legitimate. If it says that it's from a particular company, you need to check the company's page. All companies have their website. Well, most have their website. Go onto the website and verify the information. So we've been doing a lot to ensure that we sensitize our customers.
There's one other thing I wanted to talk about,
Yes.
and I know that Flo can.
Okay.
I received 2 text messages from persons pretending to be somebody else. For example, I see one. I'm going to read this text for you.
Okay.
I'm trying to send $650
Wow.
to someone, but my WhatsApp, they claim, isn't working. So don't know if you can help me send through PayPal or Zelle.
Wow. Yeah.
You never heard about that one?
No, I haven't. But again, Matt, through use of mobile, through Facebook accounts, whatever it is, in the digital world, you will always get these things. And especially if it's asking you to click on a link to get a reward that you have no idea about, or it's saying that you've won a large sum of money. And that's one of the things that they use the most, right? Because these scammers, they're dangling things that they know people want.
If
Money,
I want $100 million, take the money and send it to
no. It will not be that easy. I promise you to get $1 million. Okay. So if you get these links, you really need to be careful. Put in apps on your phone, secure apps that helps to prevent these things. Because when we browse, the internet is there for our use, and it's wide and it's filled with so many great stuff. But in between that, you have these persons where this is what they do for a living. They monitor trends, they monitor activities, they know Flow is always giving away, and they try to target customers using these things. But we really just want to come on here and remind everyone to be very vigilant. And not just in this case where, the person is operating, or people operating under the disguise of Flow Dominica, but any other website that you go onto, ensure that it's legitimate. Because these persons, they don't only impact you, because through you they can get to your contact list, and then they can impact your friends and your family members, and that's not good, right? So Flow Dominica, just reminding you to be vigilant. And of course, if you didn't hear it on Q95, if you didn't hear Francine's voice, if it's not on Flow's page, it's not real.
If it's not on Q,
it's not on Q,
it's not true.
It's not true. I love that. If it's not on Q, it's not true, right? Because of course, Matt, right? Whenever we have new campaigns, giveaways, we always take an opportunity to come on here and ensure that we tell persons, So again, be vigilant, be safe. If it's not on Q, remember, it's not true. Stay away from the fake scams, okay? Do not click on the links. Don't go paying any delivery fees for any iPhones or any large sums of money. And as I said, it's not just this instance. It's whenever you're using the internet, whilst we're here to provide the internet service, whilst we want to keep you connected to the things that you love, we also want you to be very safe in doing so. Okay, so remember, Flo is always here for you. Tomorrow, we're going to read him up at our Retail Experience Center. We'll also be here at Q because we're launching something new. If it's not on Q, it's not true. Tomorrow, we're going to be on Q, giving you some big, exciting news about summer 2025. So stay locked on. But of course, Matt, thank you so much for you and the team at Q95 for this opportunity to be on. I know you have a packed afternoon, So I'm going to leave you to it.
All right.
Signing
Now,
out.
have a great one. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Fun fact, in just 29 seconds, you can say goodbye to paper bills forever. Seriously, in 29 seconds. That's less time than this ad. Head over to discoverflow.co or visit us in-store and update your contact information now. By October 1st, your bills will be digital, easy to access, secure, and hassle-free. So what are you waiting for? This ad still has 2 seconds left, and you could have already gone paperless.
An easy way to pay.
You asked for it and you got it. A quicker way to pay your bills online. It's fast, secure, and easy to use. No registration, no additional fees. Flow is now offering FastPay, an online service that allows you to settle your bills in less than 2 minutes. Need a receipt? FastPay will send it to your email immediately. Use FastPay now for convenience, safety, and efficiency at discoverflow.co/fastpay.
You're
Flow is keeping you connected.
Understand that there is anything which has happened, was about to happen, or was happening in Dominica, which would justify the action taken by the government this morning.
Thursday, May 29th, 1979. A historic day that's etched in our minds forever. The ERC presents the Electoral Reform Coalition, Milestone or Millstone, the 46th anniversary of the May 29th, 1979 revolution.
The public service will not work.
Key players of this historic event share their experience 46 years later. A day to remember. The lessons learned, stories told.
We have to take the government in perspective. Government is dangerous to us and dangerous to the region as a whole.
A virtual discussion. Stay tuned on the ERC's Facebook page, Civic Vibes, TDN Radio, Q95, and various other platforms. The big story tonight, 6 p.m., 46 years later.
People gathered peacefully so as to let their elected representatives see that they were totally opposed to the measure which was being tabled in Parliament.
It's a very, very busy day. I guess you'll understand, huh? The events of May 29th, 1979 will go down in history all the time. The experiences, the stories to be told. And this afternoon we're having a different, completely different perspective of these events. This morning we heard from Simi and Joseph. And this afternoon we're going to hear from Mr. Johnson Boston, an international diplomat and former ambassador, Mr. Crispin Gregoire, will join us for the rest of the afternoon. So let me, by way of formal introduction, say good afternoon to Mr. Johnson Boston. Mr. Boston, good afternoon to you, sir. How are you?
Matt, good afternoon to you and to your listeners here in Dominica and overseas.
You're smiling. Something happening to you, my boss?
No, I like to smile. I like to smile. They say two things like the world is smile and wave.
Is that like a cunning smile?
No, man, it's just a genuine smile.
I like
genuine
that.
smile.
It's nothing behind that.
No.
Okay. Let's talk to you about the telephone. We have with us on the line there, Mr. Crispin Gregoire. Good afternoon to you, sir. Good afternoon to you again and welcome, Crispin Gregoire, of course, our former ambassador, UN ambassador. And we're here to talk about, of course, 1979, the lessons learned. I'm going to start off with Bosso this afternoon, then we'll follow up with Crispin, and we can interact all the time. Bosso, you were young at the time,
Yeah.
but you were there.
I was there.
What do you remember?
Well, first of all, what I will say though, as a people, we need to recognize what have happened to us, and we have to see how it taught us to be different and to approach each other differently. And sometimes we have to divorce emotion and personal issues on those issues and take it head on as to what transpired. And history you have to be almost 90 or so percent in history. Say, for example, so a person might hit you a blow, and I say that Matt got a blow. So that is factual.
Right.
But I may not know what the person used to hit you. So in my family, I might say a stone, but you who got the blow might say it's a piece of stick the person used, and so on. And I think we have to recognize those days, as I said, and we have to understand it's important as a people to understand where we came from, so we don't, go back in those old days and do the things that we did that would cause us to have a 79. And bear in mind, 79, May 29th, 1979 didn't happen on that day. It didn't? No, it was a culmination of events. And that event started since in 1973 at DBS Radio. Papa D, you must have heard that name, Papa D. I think his right name was Jeff Cordera, something like that. Yeah, he was an announcer at DBS. And he was moved to DBS, I think, to the grammar school. And the DBS staff protested that and so forth because they were represented by the CSA. And they protested that and so on. And then the government, based on the pressure, left him at his job. And other things came in. And then what happened now in 79, it burst. It culminated there and so on. So it's not a 79 issue on its own. And I think when you look at it, is 46 years ago. And sometimes we, for certain reason, we're afraid to discuss those things. And the idea is not to idolize or to bash anybody. The idea is something happened. What I can say, Matt, is in those days, you had more activists in the society. You had a number of groups in the society, youth group, women group, political parties, quite a lot. And in those days, those groups took part in the politics and governance of the country, and they did not see themselves as being governed and just sitting around being governed. They played their part, and they wanted to be what you call a participatory democracy. And therefore, government under Patrick John, under O.J. Serafin, under Eugenia Charles, under Edison James, under Rosie and Pierre Charles, understood from then on that government is a servant of the people. And therefore, to govern well, you have to govern in the interest of the people and so on. We have lost that.
I was about to ask what has changed.
Government feel today they are the masters of the vote of the voters who employ them, and the only time they feel they have a commitment to make you feel happy is when a campaign, an election campaign, is around close by. So they come around, they give drinks, they give gifts, and so on. But from PJ days after 79 up to Pierre Charles, recognize that government has to operate in the interests of the people. There must be democracy, there must be involvement. And not because you're prime minister, you're brighter than everybody in the country. You don't happen to be prime minister or minister and so forth. And therefore discussion, I remember somebody was saying, less people can wait don't sell tet. So it's always wise to have dialogue among us. Because sometimes as the government, you might see something one way, and when you discuss with the other groups, they see it another way.
But I want to introduce our friend Crispin on the line. Crispin, you were very young at the time, I imagine. I was younger, much younger, but I'm sure you remember the details there in your own memory of what happened in 1979. Yes, Crispin? Oh, lucky you.
was going on. And in fact, we have a protest outside the United Nations. Dominica had just become independent the year before. And here we were, a group of Dominicans protesting against what had happened when the Deacons Cross opened fire on peaceful demonstrators. So we had that protest, and then we proceeded to write to the State Department expressing our concern about the development in Dominica. And they wrote back and invited us to come to Washington for a discussion. And I was one of the two persons who went to Washington. The other colleague is a professor of international law today, Dr. Max Ile from Grande. It happened that both of us from Grande, we were very closely aligned with Charles. We went to Washington, had a very good meeting, and I can tell you, one of the things that stuck in my mind up to this day, the man who was the director of the Office for the Caribbean at the State Department, he said, "Oh, we don't want Rosie Douglas in this government that will be formed." In anticipation of the interim government, they were absolutely opposed to the presence of Rosie Douglas, and they made that very clear to us. So, I remember that very well, and even though I wasn't in Dominica at the time, I was involved in some way or the other.
But well, tell me, Crispin, as you said, you were not in Dominica at this time, but do you think that there are lessons from that experience there in Dominica from May 29th, 1979?
One of them is the the government attempted to pass two pieces of legislation which angered the people across the political divide.
But take a pin there. The bills that persons were, demonstrated, I'm being told, is still on the books today. Why? Yes.
Probably was the most organized political party at the time in opposition. They really championed those two issues about the legislation that was being passed, and also some of the acts that had happened, like Mr. Simeon Davis mentioned about the free thought. There were people who were opposed to that. So there were a number of things that made people angry. So when the government enters an undemocratic scene, then anything can happen. And what happened there was the government fell. And that has never happened in the history of Dominica. And that is why we will never forget that date. It tells me that one way of removing a government is through mass protest. And that played out in Roseau and the rest of the country. The other lesson that I think is important is that governments must desist in resorting to use of force when it's not necessary. I believe that had the defense force not fired on peaceful demonstrators, maybe Mr. John his government would not have fallen because he was quite popular even up to that point. So passing undemocratic legislation is not a good thing for a government to do. And Matt, I have to take it forward to where we are because what we saw on the 19th of March is very very much a case of undemocratic legislation that is not balanced, legislation that will create further crisis. And if the government thinks that because we passed the legislation on the 19th of March relating to electoral reform, that it's a done deal, it's not. This is a set of legislation that has a lot of contradictions, a lot of gaps. For example, the lead concern of the opposition forces is that there's no campaign finance regulation. Now, that is a critical, important gap that until that is done to me, it's meaningless what was passed in the parliament. Because one has to put in context why we've been fighting for electoral reform. And Matt, I have to listen to I wasn't there on the 19th of March, but in 2018, I was there when there was a protest and the police used tear gas on us. I experienced that. And then for my colleagues to experience it again on the 19th of March. And what happened in Salisbury the day after? These are really heinous behavior. This is despicable behavior on the part of the Dominican government. And then they went on in that legislation that they passed, Matt, to remove the residency requirement so that Dominicans who live in Dominica cannot decide the outcome of an election. And then you have the transportation of voters, which is going to continue unabated. Then the act that was passed for the Electoral Commission is woefully inadequate and cosmetic. I mean, there's no provision for conflict of interest of the members of the commission. And then there's no, they didn't take the Byron's advice to improve civil society representation in the commission. So the commission is still stuck in logjam. It cannot make consensus decisions. And there are a whole range of other contradictions in what was passed on the 19th of March. So really, frankly, we've not achieved electoral reform with those bills. And I want the government to be clear. And Matt, I'm going to stop there, but I want you to ask me about the international response to 19th of March, because we haven't discussed that in the public domain, and that's very important to be discussed. So the Dominican people need to know that what the international community is saying about Dominica and what happened on 19th of March, and I hope we can do that this afternoon.
We'll of course get back to. But I want to go back to Boston and Bosso, tell us about your experience on that fateful day, May 29, 1979. Of course, you were a Freedomite at the time.
Yes.
A member of the Freedom Party.
I was a
young Freedom Movement.
Well, Young Freedom Movement had just formed. I was not a member of it as yet.
Okay.
Because it was formed in 1977. I was not a member yet of Young Freedom Movement, but I was involved and interested in what was happening. I remember in those days, I used to get my grandma from Cuba. Okay. My newspaper come to me, so I always show myself interested in those things. And I never really attach hate and dislike for anybody in the politics. Mm-hmm. We discuss, we disagree, and we educate ourselves on these issues and so on. In fact, when some people were sent to Grenada, I was one of those who were chosen to go, but I wasn't interested in that, so I did not go. But what I saw though on that day was the people came out on the government headquarters, and some of the things I heard that took place, I did not witness that. Like I was not there, so I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I didn't witness that. But what I saw when Brother German was in a pipe washing his face, because the police were all there cooperating. They were there and they were cooperating. When the different first came in, things turned differently. And then I was told that Mr. Savin was taken to a home where he was being secured there. And I saw Brother German was in a pipe washing his face with the tear gas. And some officer hit him with the gun bottom and so on. And after 46 years, not many of those persons are still alive.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have Rosie passed on, you have Mike Douglas passed on, you have Pa Rivera, and all of those persons passed on. And in those days, those persons were very active, whether they support the government or the opposition or no party at all. They were very active. They took part in their organizations and so on, and they made their voices known. I remember even the National Youth Council, there's a number of persons on there that were not supporting the government, even supporting when the Freedom Party came, but they spoke. They oppose stuff, they recommend stuff, and they also certain things that they felt was good for the society. They gave it support and so on. That's how the society worked in those days. It was not left for just a handful of us to talk. People spoke when things were not going right. So the government at that time had to listen, had to readjust, and as they said, will and come again. But Patrick John got a little, disorganized, and I think a lot of Dominicans had issue with Leo Austin. At the time, he was Attorney General. He was from Guyana and came in here and so on. So they had issue with him, and therefore they felt that he was advising the government wrongly, and so he was not in their meeting. So I don't know if that part of it is true, but a lot of Dominicans had issue on those things. And as Crispin said, the Freeport issue came in, and I remember Mike and these guys when they came into Roseau. And I remember there was a meeting in the parish hall, which I followed those meetings. I went to those meetings.
Okay.
And I remember when Mike Douglas, deceased, said, the Labour Party said it's only the people of Roseau who want us to go. I want you all to come next time with your placard and banners depicting what community you came from. Let them see that the whole of Dominica wants them to go. And when you send them away, don't even allow them to fall close on the beaches so they can grow again. And so on. So sometimes in politics, people say things, and sometimes somebody take it out of context, but people say things, because people may feel that that point might give them a little boost up and so on. And so I followed these meetings, I saw this, and I saw people outside of ministry, and there were persons at the time, they were not necessarily Freedomites. They were Dominicans because, farmers brought food into Roseau to give people. So everybody who were there were not Freedomites. They were Dominicans who felt the government was not serving us well, and they got distracted.
How do you defend, boss? So, of course, the criticism came. How do you defend, 46 years later, that the Freedom Party played an instrumental role in the 1979 revolution?
Well, we were a party, and the role of a party is to be organized, to play its part.
Especially Mr. Savran.
To convince people. Well, Mr. Savran was General Secretary of the Civil Service Association.
But he was a Freedomite.
He was a Freedomite, but before he was a Freedomite, because Mr. Savran ran Portsmouth as an independent candidate in 1975. Okay, so only in 1980 he then ran for Freedom Party and so on. So one could say in 1980, because I remember this guy, Eustace Francis, a guy from Portsmouth, his name took me in a while. They call him Titus. I remember he was speaking to me, and he said, all of them supported Mr. Savran in 75. Until then, there was a Freedom Party meeting coming from somewhere, and they stopped in Portsmouth, close to Mr. Savran's home, and they realized that Mr. Savran was aligned to the Freedom Party.
So Mr. Savran is originally from Portsmouth.
He's from Portsmouth and so on. So he played his part, and I think what we should stop doing in Dominica is to like you when you're in our corner, and hate you when you're not in our corner. I think we have to address this thing factually, see where the mistake went, what we need to correct, and how we take heed of what transpired. I think that's what we need to do. And as I mentioned earlier on, history is very important. And therefore, the exercise tonight is to discuss these issues, let people give the perspective of these matters, and then let the people, mostly younger people, understand, because everybody may have their own views about the matter.
You think Mr. Savran have a different perspective today?
Well, in all fairness, we invited him to this discussion.
Tonight?
Yes,
okay.
We invited him, and he received a letter. He and I spoke, because a lot of people felt that the remaining persons who were integrally involved should be invited, like himself. Afi Martin was involved. O.J. Serafin was then Prime Minister, became Prime Minister after the removal of the Labour Party government. But Jimin was at the SMA as principal, and were involved. And then we have all of those persons who will give an account of what went on and the part they played in it. Mr. Savran said, he wished us well in the discussion, but he was
really,
but he was unable to. He's unable to join the panel. And
Did they give a reason why?
But he didn't give any reason. And we felt that because personally we have no hatred against anybody. If you're wrong, Matt, you're wrong.
Okay.
And if you're right, you're right, and so on. And therefore, you cannot, if you like, want to have a discussion, a fair discussion, and leave people who you feel who made a contribution in those days out. Let them keep themselves out if they want, where I think you should be open to have them invited and let them decide and so forth. And that's what the whole issue is about. And we should never be afraid to discuss our past and where we need to go so we can learn. I mean, one quick example, Martin Luther King in the US was fighting racism. I'm sure some people saw him as a disruptor, one who wanted confusion, and one who wanted to create trouble. There are those who saw him as one who wanted to rescue Black people from racism and so forth. And he was killed. And today in America, today, you have a Dr. Martin Luther King Day. There's a holiday to celebrate him. So in that case, some may see that wrong, some may see it right. But as I said, you have to be balanced in the discussion and ensure that you focus on the merit of the situation. And there may be some misjudgment, yes, in the matter. But generally, did people go to their bed tonight and wake up next day and just say, let me go and send stone? Let me go and overthrow government? Is that what the case is about? No. As I said, it was a combination of several things over a period of time.
Let me ask Crispin. Crispin, would you have invited Mr. Savre to this discussion tonight? And if yes, why?
Unions, which he had influence over, they were able to shut Rosa down. So he is an important player, and I hope in his memoirs, what I'm hoping when he writes his memoirs, if he does write them, that he would give coverage of his stewardship over that period with the Civil Service Union and May 29th in particular. It's a little unfortunate that he did not agree to participate in tonight's forum, but we have some heavyweights in that forum. I mean, Atherton Martin, who was both a member of the Dominica Liberation Movement Alliance, but he also was one of the people picked to serve in the interim government. Then you had Brother Egbert Germain, who was one of the organizers of the protest. He's going to speak. And then we have Oliver Serafin himself, who was agreed to speak. So it should be a very interesting conversation this evening. I am one of those who will speak, and I will speak to the issues. Matt, I have this strong preference for speaking about international issues and how they bear on Dominica. So I will speak about that. And then we will talk about the current situation. Here we are, 46 years later. We are almost on the brink of another May 79, because the electoral reform process is not complete with the legislation that was passed. Some good things in the legislation, but in terms of the substance, the most important issue was not addressed, that's campaign finance. And we can speak about that, Matt, but I'm saying that this electoral reform process is not complete until campaign finance reform is included. Yes, Matt.
Okay, just hold on there. We'll get to that, Crispin. But also somebody wants me to ask you, What is your take on the role of Charles Safran then? And I think you spoke about it briefly, and now.
Yeah, I think he played his role. He was, as Crispin rightly said, he was General Secretary of the Civil Service Association. And in those days, the association was very powerful. I mean, everybody who were there as teachers, as nurses, as public officers, and so on, and persons who served the country, they were not sitting back and they were not looking for favors and would be afraid to speak and to show themselves and so forth because they depend on their profession, their education, and their experience to be engaged in the public service or anywhere else. So when a matter was wrong, they don't hide and say, well, if I come out, they might victimize me. They come out because wrong is wrong, as I said earlier on. So I think he played his part, and the country generally, as Crispin said, he was a leading figure there. And the country, in terms of the farmers, the various groups on the island, and of course the business community, they all supported. I remember we were speaking to a professor, I won't call the professor name now, and she was saying that, two of them, a male and a female professor, and they were saying in the 70s and even during the 80s, they could look to Dominica for advocacy because the Dominican people were very much upfront and alive.
What has changed?
I guess, I don't know. I guess this government came in from since Pierre left, this prime minister came in, and with few persons who feel that the best way to control people is not to create jobs, one, not to give them the independence that they require. So they have to always come to you for something. And when they come to you for something, then they have to submit to you, because if not, they'll not get it. I remember a lady told me once, there was a meeting, and she said, Boss, if you like my red shirt, they were giving books for school books. And I dressed in red to go and get my books. In the 70s, as a boy, and I growing up there in the early 80s, people would put whatever they put on them and go and rally, go and stand up, go and do what they do. And I can remember, even when Freedom Party became the government, the Labour Party under, say, Michael Douglas and then Rosie, when there was an election, I mean, they used to pass heavy, you know. And the two parties at the time recognized, appreciated, and respected that each of them have a role. I remember Labour used to say, we don't have motorcade, but we have people's cade. So they respect each other. In today's day, to me, you get the impression as well people feel, and most of the government is pushing that people have, the opposition has no value in the society and so forth, have no value. I was speaking to a guy last night, we were speaking somewhere, and the guy is coming and saying that the opposition members raise money to look after themselves. And I'm saying to him that, he said, and he make reference to when we had a radiothon and there we raised $15,000. I said, that's what you come and talk about when one person in your government, in our government, is taking $64,000 a month, every month. Plus he has a whole police station in Mount Daniel and allowances. And that is what you use in as a defense. I remember before you support Freedom or Labour, people would say, I support that party, but I disagree with that. I disagree with that. No, don't have that. I never forget as a boy going to Freedom Party meeting and even Freedom Party, what do you call that? Party council meeting. And members would come there and question ministers. You have to come and have your report. Once we went to Pilit Sufre area for a meeting, and at that time used to allow questions. So when the speakers speak, they allow questions. From the floor. And a lady came and took the floor and put blows on Michels. We were uncomfortable because to see your leaders taking blows. But obviously, at the end of it.
But that's democracy.
That's democracy. And obviously, after that, you come and explain. And so, because the person might have something in their mind, and they're totally wrong. And when they dialogue with you now, they understand and so on. So I think that's what we have lost. And that's why I think we want to think. But the important point there, Matt, is all what happened in 79. Nobody got arrested except, Charles Savre and Maxime, may soul rest in peace, and a few others, were house arrested. They were under house arrest, but nobody except in cell, and so forth. And I mean, we had this little thing outside of the parliament, and you see what happened. And so it's a vast difference. There is the level of tolerance and respect in society.
So you could protest then and not now?
Not now.
All right. Let's take a break, Crispin. Stick around. We're going to take a break. We'll come back for a word from our valuable sponsors. Stick around.
Now available at ESA Trading Limited Showroom Department, a wide range of household items and accessories. Plates in porcelain, ceramic, clear and cordial. Bowls in glassware, plastic and porcelain. Pot sets and frying pan sets. Glasses for all occasions. Knife sets and cutlery. Water jugs and storage containers. Wooden spoon sets. Dish drainers. Chopping boards. Bath towels, shower curtains, bed sheet sets, curtain rods, living room sets, recliners, and dining room sets, mats and rugs, and so much more. All at unbeatable prices. Visit us today. We are located at the corner of Kennedy Avenue and Dame Eugenia Charles Boulevard, Roseau. ESA Trading Limited, making a difference for you.
Calling on all Catholic Christians in Dominica. Get ready for the 44th Annual Charismatic Renewal Conference, June 13 to 15, at the St. Alphonsus Parish Hall in Goodwill, under the theme,
Obey my voice in everything, and all will be well with you. Jeremiah 7:21 to 23.
Guest speakers, Father Anthony Abraham of St. Thomas, Father Francis of the Fatima Parish, and Brother Romel Lawrence, a Dominican based in Barbados. Join us for General Assembly talks, healing and empowerment sessions, workshops including one for the youth. There will also be a commissioning exercise to visit less fortunate persons in keeping with our Jubilee Year of Hope. You don't want to miss God's voice at Charismatic Renewal Conference at the St. Alphonsus Parish Hall in Goodwill, June 13 to 15.
Hallelujah, it's the mystery of Hallelujah.
Going shopping for farming supplies. So I ask you, what are you doing inside Bloombox? Do you have a farm? You tell me, that's how it has sort. I've been married 37 years. Come out of my money farm. They say, no, not woman, like land for farming crops. And then you understand, Bloombox is the most affordable on island. Knapsacks starting at only $57.71. Elsewhere, it's $300 plus. Cutlass seeds, seeding trays, nursery pots, sales of potting mix, all at way better prices than anywhere else. Fertilizers, 3-in-1 multi-tool, and so much more. Located on Federation Drive, Goodwill. Second property on the right after the Valley Link Road and on the corner of Drury Lane and Hanover Street in Roseau. Bloombox. Let's bloom together.
You say you feel hot, go deep with that. Breath have a big spin. Brand new case, be cool, spot. You can't sweat after that. Go and buy a cake. It's cheap like a cool on my face and it cool me the night. Cool me at least in the night. It just cool, 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 cool. Yeah, that's cool, 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 cool. Everything's cool.
Beat the heat and stay cool with a brand new air-class air conditioner from Burton & Company. Visit us on the corner of Kennedy Avenue and Independence Street in Roseau or call 448-2815. For purchase, installation, maintenance, or protection, call Burton & Company today for everything AC and just cool.
So, you want a revolving fund much like a credit card. Manage charges for credit card. I don't have an institutional line of credit? Okay, we listen and we don't judge.
Okay, so you purchased a vehicle and it wasn't a vroom from NCU, so you could benefit from more variable rates. Okay, we listen and we don't judge.
Your community financial partner wants you to be sound in your pocket and in your mind. Don't make financial decisions that are going to leave you stressed. We told you, NCCU is the plug for all your money moves. We have loans for all purposes. All you have to do is contact us. Pick any of our 11 locations and then just advance.
From the cradle to the grave.
All right, Dominica, I'm going to take a few phone calls. Crispin, I'll get in touch with you in a few minutes. I see the telephones going there. So, Crispin, I'll reconnect with you in a minute, okay? Thank you very much. Because I'm getting a few phone calls. The minute I take one, you will disappear in the thin air. So, let's take a few calls, okay? We discussing the events of May 29th, 1979. Getting ready for the bigger program at 7 tonight?
7 tonight.
7 tonight.
And we want to start on times. Bang 7. But Matt Wellham, let me just say, Well, it's a call.
It's a call? Okay, let's take a call. Yes, good morning or good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What's up, good afternoon?
How are you? Yes.
Good afternoon.
I'm
How are
fine.
you? Good.
Were you expecting Charles Sovereign to come in that thing at all? You doesn't have hatred, bosses, and people know that. But you know what is, you cannot know what is in Charles Sovereign's mind. Charles Sovereign would never put himself there.
So how do you know you would never come?
I don't know Charles Sovereign. Let me say something on another note. But how can you remember when we were going to convention on the buses and the Good Labour, not that Labour that's there right now, the Good Labour Party, they would pass, if we are going down and they are going up, we would go in the window with our flag and we would tag the other people on the other side.
That's true.
No vexation, nothing. We would tag them, they would tag us. Now, since that hooligan coming in office, they just put a hatred there. Thank you.
Let's take another phone call. Are you there? Yes.
Yes, good afternoon, Mark.
Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you, listeners at home and abroad. Back to the question to Bosu. When is they have the 47-day strike? I was still a young child. And I didn't know anything about what happened. I only recently got to know everything and for Patrick and died and everything. And, I really, get to know something about it.
I suspect you might want to call back on another line. That line is definitely not effective. So call back. Your question is important. Call me back. Hello, talk to me. You want to hear, right? Also, no. Yes. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you. Caller, are you there?
Hello?
Yes, hello. Go ahead.
Can you hear me, Matt?
Very clearly. Go ahead.
Okay. Thanks for the greetings this morning. Today is my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Maybe that's why I'm so moody, because I'm a Gemini. I am a...
You don't know what you are now?
I am a Gemini.
Okay.
I am a moody neighbor, May 29. But Matt, you ask about lessons to be learned.
Mm-hmm.
One of the lessons to be learned is do not underestimate the people and do not push people. Thank you.
Do not underestimate the demon. Do not push.
Mm-hmm. In other words,
yes,
when people have an issue and they call for your attention as a leader, you should not take them for granted. And in fact, when Patrick was Premier and then Prime Minister, he had meetings with Mr. Sovereign and other persons who were in other groups.
Mm-hmm.
They had meetings. When Oliver Seraphim became Prime Minister, the same happened. When Ms. Charles became Prime Minister, the same happened. We had dialogue with people. I remember when they had the bus strike, I was in the Senate, and I was as a PALSEC in cabinet room that time, we're discussing. And then there was an issue with the taxi and bus drivers, and they came to cabinet room and they were allowed to come in and so on, speak to us, and the matter was resolved. And then when Ms. Charles left, Edison James came in, that dialogue continued. When Rosie came in as Prime Minister, that dialogue continued. I remember there was an issue with the banana industry, and they wanted to get some money from the Taiwanese to put into the banana industry. And then Rosie called a meeting, and the leader of the Freedom Party was there, and the leader of the ULB was there, and so on at the time. And the dialogue went on. When Pierre Charles came in, the same thing. But since the Prime Minister came in, he feel as if, well, he's the star of all, and therefore nobody must speak to him, nobody must... Even some of them, they don't even respond to your letter. You write a letter, they don't even respond to the letter, and so on. And in a society, you have to understand, because people may like you now, and you may feel you're shining, you're starring, but later on, when they realize that their life is not improved, they drop like a coconut,
And Patrick John was very popular.
Very popular. Very, very popular. And I remember Patrick himself saying, because I had a dialogue with him, and he said that Frank Barron asked him to contest for the DUPP and so forth, and he considered it. But then when Libla came to him, then his mind got a little tag between the two, and therefore he decided to go with the Libla Labour Party. Also, I heard talk where Mr. Libla's premier, his shopping was at Frank's Baron business place here in Roseau, his shopping. And when they would not come for the shopping, Frank Baron knew exactly what to put in the package to send to his home. So there wasn't that kind of hatred and that thing we have now. That personal stuff, because people would I remember in Parliament once, Mike said, look at them sitting there. All of them are, the Freedom Party government. He said, look at them sitting there. The only person I seen there looking innocent is Bosso. I was in my 20s. And he said, young man, what have you done to be sitting there? So we had a laugh and son of it. He said, you see, I see you have a lot of potential, and I want you and Ian, my son, to be in politics. But you almost get a profession before you enter, because it's not an easy thing. And he's the one who said, when you go to a shop, people normally take the little, thing that they take a stout, they take a malt and so on. Yes. And then something you come with empty pocket, and you have to take a query. So therefore he designed a means how to handle that and so on. So although we were on separate sides, we spoke. I remember the YFM wrote to Mike as leader of the opposition, asking to speak to the YFM on the role of the opposition in a democracy. He did not come, but we wrote to him and so on. He asked to ask Eugenia.
Hello, talk to me on the telephone. There's somebody on the line.
Hey, Mr. Karke, blessings to you.
Blessings to you, yes.
Matt, how come you know my friend don't even send the greetings to her there, Isaac? I don't send no greetings to her again. Oh, yeah, blessings to you, darling. More life, more strength, more blessings, more glory, more healing, more prosperity, and all that you require. Also, blessings to you, and Mr. Greg, more blessings to you.
Same to you, thanks. Same
Matt,
to you. Mm-hmm.
Matt, I know you may have disconnected, but also on reflection. Because Mr. Joseph said something this morning, which I was a little taken aback of. When he said the same two bills that was used as a justification to get rid of Patrick John. Mr. said 15 years, they never remove it. And then don't you think, Bosso, it was just a political strategy? Because the same bourgeoisie, I know you're not one, but among them. Don't you think it was something that was blown out of proportion to have had removed Patrick John in the way he was removed, and about the CIA and all of that? I know you don't want to get into all of that, but I listened to Simeon, and it seems like there was more to it than Patrick John was guilty of such a heinous crime when Michel stayed there for 15 years, the Freedom Party, and they never remove it.
But remember, not only the Freedom Party, the UWP are only party during that time.
Matt,
even until today.
No. Matt,
I'm here.
I am saying, when they overthrew Patrick John, it's not the Freedom Party that came then, huh?
Yes, I'm saying, but 25 years later, check it out. It may still be on the books.
No, and that is what I'm saying. UWP came there. Okay, thank you for reminding me. They did not remove it for 4.5 years. Mr. stayed there for 15 years. And UWP was not formed yet to say they were going against the bill. I am talking about the Freedom Party, who orchestrated the whole thing with that dictatorial Ayatollah. I look into his eyes years ago in Senjo, and I see that man is a demon. And I can tell you, Bosso, if you're being honest with yourself, can you say that that whole thing was just a political strategy, just like they said they did to UWP? Corruption. Ruzi said it. Ruzi said it before he died. It was a political strategy to get rid of UWP. So that is what politicians do at the expense of the lives of the people. That's why I take no chances with politicians, my brother. If you want, you might elaborate. If not, so be it.
All right, thank you very much.
Well, Matt, what I can say, though, I don't mix matters, right?
Yes.
And when we discussing issues, people look for all the little gripes. Mm-hmm. Just like if you have a demonstration, there are those who come there and they may not come for the actual thing that you organize. They came there for their own, disappointment and so on. And that's your
everybody has an agenda.
Have an agenda. So therefore, I don't mix matters. And what I try my utmost to do is to discuss the point at hand.
Okay.
And as was rightly said, I'm not aware, Chris made the point, I'm not aware it's still on the books, But sometimes what happened to us, and I say us, not Freedom Party, not Labour Party, not European, us as a people, what we do sometimes, we just become laissez-faire in those things. And we don't look at this law, what the charges under there, this name not coming to me now. This old law, colonial law that was passed against black people really in England. And in 1817.
1817.
And that is still on our books and so on. And there was government long before 1980 and so on. So everybody who came in, they never pay attention to it. It is still on the books, I don't know. But I can't blame one or the other for it. It's just that we probably will be in a little laissez-faire in these matters and so on. So I will not make an argument, use that to make an argument to blame the Freedom Party or blame anybody else. The Freedom Party was a party, and as Crispin said, it was the better organized party at the time. And therefore, when your opponent is disorganized, your role is to take advantage in terms of placing yourself to replace them. And so that's what a party does.
Yeah, here's a question there for Bosso. You might take it the wrong way, and of course, he's just only being fair that the question's been asked to him. Somebody wants to know, Mr. Bosso, for me, please, the person wants to know if you saw Eugenia Charles as the prejudiced woman. He speaks of you speak of this woman as if she was warm, humble person, the warm, humble person that's so far from her personality, the honest average person knows. But I will tell you, I've dealt with Eugenia Charles. As a matter of fact, she offered me a scholarship at one time.
Mm-hmm.
She does not have the face, but if you deal with one on one,
yes, I can see
she's
that.
a very warm person.
Matt, let me tell you, and that is honest.
Yes.
Two persons I work with in my life, and I always mention their name, is Eugenia Charles and Philip Nassif. Okay? May their soul rest in peace. They come to you, they ask you, Matt, why are you sitting there? If you say, I don't know, but who allow you to sit there when you don't know what you're sitting up there for? But if you tell them I'm sitting there because I'm controlling the whatever there and so forth, anything, they say, okay. And if they make trouble with you on something, they call back when they realize they were wrong. They call back and say, you know something?
Mm-hmm.
I apologize. I remember when I became a senator, Henry George traveled, and he was not supposed to be traveling because he was Minister of Local Government and Community Development. And he was acting Prime Minister. And the Prime Minister went out, she was out of state. And a letter came, invitation for Mrs. Edwards, Neva Edwards, to have gone to Washington for some women's meeting and so on. So Mr. Charles recommended that Jackson Theodore was a senator in that same ministry would accompany Mrs. Edwards. And we decided to go in. Ministers used to make their own travel arrangement and had their own budget.
Mm-hmm.
And Eugenia, I remember saying to us in a meeting that we'll only take the trips that are necessary and that can benefit the country, but trips to go on a good time, she's not interested in.
Bon temps.
Bon temps. Mm-hmm. And then Henry went. He's still alive. I mean, he can call and see if I'm wrong. He went. And then when Eugenia was coming in on the airport, Henry was going to VIP, going out. Imagine, normally the acting Prime Minister stayed to hand over. And the point I'm trying to make is, when we used to have open up independent with a radio address by the minister. So Shaman Green Brown on DBS called me to have an address to send to her so she can do it the following Monday on after the 710 news. I say, what? I just became a party. I'm young. I'm not even sure
what to say.
I know how to say it. So I called Miss Charles. I call her. She said to me, you know something? Deal with your matter. I'm not interested. And so I get a little flustered and so on. So I went to Brian Allen and Charles Maynard. Brian is still there. Charles Maynard has gone. They said, no, let's give her a break. When she cool down, she will take her. The first day she was in her constituency office, I pick up before I call her. I say, Miss Charles, I'm still working on this thing. She told me, just send me the information, I'll do it. You know where I'm coming from?
Right.
But my first impression of her, what? So as you rightly said, Matt, if you look at her face, she probably would scare you. But if you deliver on a one-on-one, and she sent a lot of children to school on her own pocket, I never spoke about it.
And the same goes for Mr. Lennox Linton. I have colleagues in the media over the years. Maybe I never said that to Lennox. I I am afraid of dealing with the man. And if you speak to Leonard on a one-on-one, this is the most warm individual. You know, some people have different impressions of different persons.
People look at him,
even my media colleagues.
Yes.
So I remember once I know dealing with Mr.
I remember once a guy said me talking to me, "Oh, Bush was like you." I said, "That's me. I carry figure in my head, in car home."
Impressions.
But he just see me and just feel like I'm involved in things like raising the concrete. So people look at you and they have their own impression of you. And
but I get it. All right, then we're going to continue taking your phone calls now. It's 449-3095-96 and 97. Hello, talk to me, yes? Yes, how are you doing?
I mean, Mr. Guerra was going to say something about how the international people.
Yes, I'll call him in a little while. Yes, we've lost him because we're taking phone calls, okay?
Yeah, all right.
No problem. Yes, I think he wanted to make the point that Mr. Greg was, of the international persons there. I think they met with some of them. But we're going to take a break and we're going to come back, Dominica. We'll engage Mr. Gregoire when we come back.
Dominica, it's time for our Believers Convention 2025. 3 Power Pack nights from Friday, June 6th to Sunday, June 8th, hosted by Truth and Grace Fellowship Global. Featuring powerful word from Pastor Michael Jr. George of St. Lucia and special musical guest Joanna from Trinidad. The weekend climax is on Sunday night with a grand finale concert at the Bishop Michael Bill Daniel Memorial Park with dynamic worship, a feature from Visionaires, and a heart-touching tribute to Dominican gospel icon Agnes Aaron. Sunday concert tickets just $25. Available at the Truth and Grace Church office on Independence Street. Don't miss this unforgettable experience. Believers Convention 2025 is the dawn of a brand new day.
Happen to anyone, and in every kind of relationship, regardless of age, ethnicity, gender, race, or status. Domestic violence can be emotional, financial, physical, sexual, or verbal, and it affects many here in Dominica. And the signs aren't always obvious. Unexplained absences from school or work, self-blaming and excuses for bruises and injuries, excessive check-ins with a partner, and a sudden or gradual decrease in self-esteem are all signs of abuse. We must all play our part in building a safe Dominica for all. Our awareness of the signs of abuse is the first step toward taking action for change. If you suspect a friend or loved one is being abused, contact the Ministry of Social Services at 266-3080. This message is brought to you by the Government of Dominica in partnership with IOM Dominica.
Dominicans, enjoy your property, protect your property. You homeowner and businessman, protect your property, enjoy your property. Can't wait for the hurricane, can't wait till your flood again, can't wait till your roof fly out and all your business coming out. Remember, no insurance company will insure your property when a storm is approaching. Get ahead of the hurricane season and insure with a company who gives you the assurance of payment for your valid claim. Come speak with us today at the New India Assurance Company Limited, upstairs AC Shillingford and Company Limited, 24 King George Street, Roseau. Bring along an up-to-date valuation from a qualified engineer and get insured today. Cause I'm on my way.
KFC delivery is here. Just place your order at www.kfcdominica.com, Facebook or WhatsApp at 614-2633 and your order will be delivered to you. KFC, it's good.
Cause I'm on my way.
All right, Dominica, we're here. We're going to connect again with Mr. Crispin, a former ambassador to the United Nations representing Dominica. That was Dominica's former UN ambassador. And of course, Crispin, earlier you spoke about the international community and how, it saw the March 19th protest, their views on that. Speak to us about that.
Yes. Matt, well, the Oh, I'm having an echo though.
I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. Go ahead. Just turn on the volume on your
Okay.
on your radio. Yes, please.
Yeah. Since March 19th, there have been a number of responses to the March 19th protest and the arrests that happened after. The most significant one, Matt, is the statement of the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, the IACHR. And on the 16th of April, just almost a month after what happened in Roseau, they put out a statement that is, the title is IACHR expresses concern regarding the electoral reform process in Dominica, in the Commonwealth of Dominica. And what was significant about that statement, it said that they have been monitoring Dominica's electoral reform efforts since 2018. So they have sat back and reviewed what's happening in Dominica, and we always warn the police and the government that the international community was focused on them. And Matt, in that report, and I want people who are listening to go to the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights website and Google, do a Google search, and you will find it if you have not seen it before. They expressed grave concern, and they also said that, having permission to authorization to hold a protest is not required under international law. And Matt, I can read that specific thing. Mm-hmm. It says here, the exercise of freedom of assembly through social protest should not be conditioned on prior authorization or on disproportionate requirements that hinder its execution. Any limitation must strictly adhere to the principles of legality, necessity, and proportionality. States have an obligation to safeguard the rights of individuals engaging in protest, to protect their physical integrity, and to ensure unhindered access to the press. To this end, the IACR calls on the Commonwealth of Dominica to respect the principles of democratic participation and to end the targeting and criminalization of citizens exercising their rights to assembly and to participate in public demonstrations. So the IACR, further calls on the government of Dominica to ensure that the electoral reform process, beyond the passage of legislation, adheres to international human rights standards. The reform of electoral systems must aim to strengthen the independence of electoral institutions, promote fair and transparent campaign financing, and ensure equitable access to the electoral process. So the international community is really, they have indicted the government of Dominica, in my view. And when you read this in entirety, it tells you that the behavior of the police and the government on the 19th of March is not consistent with the very conventions that they have ratified. And Matt, that is a very important part because, we have a lot of laws on our books, but we also have extension to these laws because our governments over the years, going back to immediately after we became independent, Dominica has ratified certain conventions. One of them is on the civil and political rights, the UN Convention. Then you have the Democratic Charter, the Inter-American Democratic Charter. These are things that Dominica signed on to, but they are not living up to those obligations. And I'm saying that the time has come when those things that the Dominica government signed overseas must be factored and must be entered into the court of law. When these cases come up in July against the 25 people who've been arrested, the legal counsel must cite those international agreements that Dominica has signed. And as far as I'm concerned, the DPP should do the right thing and dismiss all of these charges because there's no merit in these charges. And Matt, the reason why I support the ERC having this event tonight, because what the ERC is seeking to do for the Dominican people is to make a link between what happened in 1979 and the situation we have today on hand, because there are a lot of similarities. And if the government continues to trample on the rights of the Dominican people, they will face the wrath of the Dominican people, you know. They must not, I would say to the Dominican government, don't continue to trample on the rights of the Dominican people. Their constitutional rights is very important. And I'm saying further that the electoral reform bills that were passed, there are some things in it that is useful, like having a voter ID card finally. We had to push them there after 15 years. They finally agreed to give us a voter ID card. But there are many things that are missing. Now, I should also say that I commend the Bar Association for the paper they put out in the last few days on the March 19th thing. They have highlighted in very, very clear terms their disagreement with what has transpired and the focus on the rights of the people who were arrested. Matt, I really not pleased about what has transpired. The behavior of the police in Dominica is under watch. I mean, I mentioned the Inter-American Commission, but I have not yet mentioned Human Rights Watch, one of the world's reputable human rights organizations. They posted that they're watching the situation in Dominica. They're watching it very closely, and they're telling the international partners and governments about what the government of Dominica is doing. And I'm going to read for the public what they said. They said, and that came out in the same month of April, like the commission wrote. Dominica, we are following the situation in the country and share the concerns raised by the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights. Lack of integrity and independence within electoral bodies. Absence of the rules around campaign financing. And third, financing of voter transportation from abroad. These are three major concerns that they have about the situation in Dominica, and that the electoral laws that have been passed are not balanced, they're not equitable, and they seem to give advantage to the administration in Roseau. Now, I should say that I'm hearing that there are plans for a snap election. I think it would be a grave mistake, an error for the government of Dominica to hold any election before the confirmation period is over. That means that if they do that, they would be violating the very law they just passed on the 19th of March. It gives the people of Dominica 15 months to get their name reconfirmed. Of course, I don't support the reconfirmation process, but that's now the law. I believe that the way to a new voters register had to be a reconfirmation of vote, not a re-registration of voters. Because you cannot use an old bloated list that has 74,000 people on it and think that you're going to reconfirm names. I think that's another attempt to frustrate having an equitable and clean voters list. So I see a lot of problems, Matt, in where we are. We are not in a good place.
I'll tell you what, I just want to turn the conversation a bit there, because the Labour Party, we're gonna wind down in a minute. The Labour Party is having its celebrations this weekend in I think Dublin, and I think you were a big member of the Labour Party, Crispin. That's no joke, and I want your own impressions before we wind down. I know we spoke about 1979, but we can talk about, of course, because it's like some 46 years later. What's your impression? I think I asked somebody else from the international community. What's your impressions of inviting Mia Mott to Dominica at this time? Do you think we'll add anything to that celebration?
You asking me, Matt?
No, I'm asking you. I'll ask you separately. But I want Miss.
Well,
Yes. Go ahead.
yes, Matt. Well, everybody knows that I was intimately involved with the Labour Party.
We know that.
Back in 2000, 2005, but I'm no longer part of that party. I left that party because it's not a Labour Party.
We know that.
But more than that, I think it's a really affront to the Dominican people that the sitting chair of the CARICOM will come to a partisan political rally in our country. I think that we have to let Mia Motley know that is really unacceptable behavior. And I believe that the ERC has written to her. Maybe Mr. Boston can confirm that. But she needs to be told in no uncertain terms, look, you're not coming here as the chair of CARICOM to speak at a Labour Party rally. That is an interference in our internal political affairs. And Mia Motley is not that popular in our country either. We just have to remind her about Salisbury, what she did in Salisbury in 2019 with her troops. And then she took away Ross University. We took it in stride, but Matt, we can't forget that one. We built that university over 40 years, and then, Barbados took it away from us under her stewardship. So she's not a popular figure in Dominica, and I think, it's an affront to the Dominican people that the government would invite such an individual to come to our country as the chair of CARICOM. That's not, I don't think that's a good thing.
Also, your views on that one.
Yes. Well, I support Crispin, the fact that she's chairman of CARICOM. Chairman of CARICOM means that you are the leader of the region. So every person, whether they support the government or the opposition, are persons who should look up to you as one of principle, leadership, and one who could make very sound and reasonable judgment. I mean, if she was a principled person, she should have said to the government, I can't come, but I can assign somebody from my party, from my government to come. Right? I remember when there was a time when we were in government and Keith Mitchell, former Prime Minister of Grenada, Dr. Mitchell, he invited Miss Charles to have come to speak to in Grenada. And at that time, they were in the opposition, and Miss Ginger Charles was then, she was chairman of the OECS. And she said, no, I can't do that because while our party have party-to-party relationship, I'm the chairman of the OECS, and therefore I would be kind of separating the people of Grenada between your party and the government by speaking. And then Brian Allen was assigned. And he went there, I was there myself, and he went and he spoke in Grenada at the time when he was a minister of government. So principles must come into play. And I think what I'm saying, and Crispin made the point, that you just passed a law. You arrested 25 of us because we stood up to say that law is inadequate, right? And soon after that, you want to call a by-election, snap election, and you bring mayor in disguise of a celebration to start up a campaign. And I think that is not good. And I think the whole region is have the eyes open on that. And as he said, Crispin said, we wrote her letter to explain all of this to her and what have happened in Dominica over time since this government became the government of Dominica. There are many other things I can say in relation to Barbados, the Barbados Labour Party relationship with the Dominica Freedom Party, but time does not permit that. But Matt, before I go, I want to say in a big way, thank you to Sports Rap, who have adjusted their program tonight to accommodate us, and also the UWP, who have accommodated the program, who have shifted their program to accommodate us and so on. So they'll be a little hour earlier and later and so forth. And in that case, they recognize the value and the importance, Because we're not doing this because we want to have some, we want to have an education on this matter. And we should not be afraid when things have to be spoken about, to be free to speak about it. Just try our utmost to speak the truth as much as possible. And once we can do that, then heaven is our own. That's it. I'm not a pastor.
Crispin, your final comments as we go. I mean, I'll be looking forward to hearing you tonight on the big program.
Yes. Well, Matt, I exhort all Dominicans to listen to this program tonight because it will be an education in Dominican political history and also bring it to the present. So I think, and I want to implore the young people to listen because they will learn something tonight. We have some very distinguished panelists. Atherton Martin, Brother Egbert Germain, the former Prime Minister Oliver Serafin, Johnson Boston, who was active back in '79, myself, and Dr. Andre. So it's quite a group and moderated by Alvin Thomas, who was also present in the '79 situation. He was a civil servant then. So I think it'll be a great evening, and I am looking forward to it, and I'm hoping that people do tune in tonight to Q95. It's going to be on MO News as well. DNO is carrying it live, so it should be a very good program. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Matt, for having us.
Thank you too. Thank you, Bosso. Thank you very much. Yeah,
Yes.
Go ahead. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yes, but I want to say to those who have the link, you can share the link. And we want to thank DNO and MO News and all this social media platform, Civic Vibes, Q95 FM Radio, for accommodating us with this program. And I want to say a special thanks to the staff here, and Mr. G, to ensure that things work out. And to you, Matt, we appreciate the opportunity to have explained. And as I said, no grudge, not to bash anybody or not to idolize anybody, but to speak as to what transpired 46 years ago and how we can take these examples to go forward.
Tonight, 7 p.m.
To understand that there is anything which has happened, was about to happen, or was happening in Dominica, which would justify the action taken by the government this morning.
Thursday, May 29th, 1979. A historic day that's etched in our minds forever. The ERC presents the Electoral Reform Coalition, Milestone or Millstone, the 46th anniversary of the May 29th, 1979 revolution.
The public service will not work.
Key players of this historic event share their experience 46 years later. A day to remember. The lessons learned, stories told.
We have to take the government in perspective. Government is dangerous to us and dangerous to the region as a whole.
A virtual discussion. Stay tuned on the ERC's Facebook page, Civic Vibes, TDN Radio, Q95, and various other platforms. The big story tonight, 6 p.m., 46 years later.
People gathered peacefully so as to let their elected representatives see that they were totally opposed to the measure which was being tabled in Parliament.
Just before I go, I just want to give you an update as it relates to Mr. Brian Linton. Being told by sources that he was released on bail sometime today. His bail conditions were revised, removing the requirement to report weekly to the Marigot police station, as well as to reduce the quantum of the bail sum. This matter was heard by Magistrate Loda. He also challenged the police prosecutors to have that matter expedited and be ready with that paper committal at a new date at the September sitting. So Brian Linton is now out on bail. Get an opportunity to talk to him sometime soon. Brian Linton, stay strong. And this is it for us. Stay tuned for the big program tonight on Q 95. Lessons of 1979.
To understand that there is anything which has happened, was about to happen, or was happening in Dominica, which would justify the action taken by the government this morning.
Thursday, May 29th, 1979. A historic day that's etched in our minds forever. The ERC presents the Electoral Reform Coalition, Milestone or Millstone, the 46th anniversary of the May 29th, 1979 revolution.
The public service will not work.
Key players of this historic event share their experience 46 years later. A day to remember. The lessons learned, stories told.
We have to take the government in perspective. Government is dangerous to us and dangerous to the region as a whole.
A virtual discussion. Stay tuned on the ERC's Facebook page, Civic Vibes, TDN Radio, Q95, and various other platforms. The big story tonight, 6 p.m., 46 years later.
People gathered peacefully so as to let their elected representatives see that they were totally opposed to the measure which was being tabled in Parliament.
Oh no, I've said some bad things, and I don't mean it. No, yeah. I know I say some bad things when I get upset. I don't mean it, baby, looking back I do regret. And I know I should have really been a man about it. But you've done no wrong to me, I should forget about it. Some things I do forget, but it's not purposely. Within myself I laugh it off and say it's silly me. I may give you looks that look like it can really kill. Ooh, believe me, deep within my heart, that's not my will. No. If I didn't love you, I wouldn't even talk about it. Just walk away and don't even give a damn about it. I don't want us to work. Think about it. Just think about it. Think about it. Oh yeah, baby. If I didn't love you, I wouldn't even talk about it. Oh, I wouldn't even talk about it. No. I don't want us to work, yeah, baby. Think about it. Just think about it. Think of all the good things that you've done for me. Not only that, I can't forget your family. But I've got a problem with my temper, baby, too. I don't mean it, and I shouldn't take it out on you. And I promise I will do my best to take control. For me, I know it's not gonna be an easy goal. But my will is strong, and I know that I will try. Believe me, deep within, I can tell you why. Yeah. Just walk away and don't give me about it. But I want us to work, oh yeah, about it. Just think about it, think about it. If I didn't love you, I wouldn't even talk about it. Just walk away and don't even give a damn about it. Don't talk about it. I want us to work, think about it. Oh just think about it. Understand me, should have been enough to so let me. And I didn't really mean to bring you down, make you cry, and say goodbye. Oh, I didn't mean it, baby. Oh yeah. Ooh. Oh yeah. I know I did some bad things when I get upset. I don't mean it, baby, looking back, I do regret. And I know I should have really been a man about it. But you've done no wrong to me, I should forget about it. Some things I do forget, but it's not purposely. Within myself, I laugh it off and say it's silly me. I may give you looks that look like it can really kill. Believe me, deep within my heart, that's not my will. No, think about it. I wouldn't even talk about it. I wouldn't even talk about it. Give a damn about it. Think about it. Just think about it. Think about it. If I didn't love you, I wouldn't even talk about it. Just walk away and don't even give a damn about it. No, think about it. Just think about it. Think about it. If I didn't love you, just walk away and don't even talk about it. Oh, yeah. Think about it. Just think about it. Think about it. Think about it. Talk about it. Talk about it. It's better to rise with a smile on your face, just like the sunshine all over the place. Don't be like the night when it's dark, darling. You're the nearest to my heart. Why won't you dance, dance, dance this reggae music? Dance, dance, dance this reggae music. Your friends will say that you must dance with me. So darling, come on and let me be. All your friends say you must dance with me. So darling, come on and let me be. Don't stick around and just stare at me. Darling, put on your dancing shoes. I want you dance, dance, dance this reggae music. Dance, dance this reggae music. Dance, dance, dance this reggae music. Dance, 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 dance,
Come from the most unexpected in someone's eyes you never met. Who won't forget to know? In someone's mind you can't forget. And if the music plays on.